Triple H's first booked WrestleMania was tremendous both nights. I don't even remember the last time that I've seen such great consistency on such a lengthy WWE card for both nights that delivered pretty much from top to bottom. Hey everybody, SonGoshuaku, your host here, being joined once again by my guest, Rob Fury.
What is up, my friends? Rob Fury here. I'm back for WrestleMania Night 2.
One thing I didn't mention last time we did our first review is this whole stadium, SoFi Stadium, from the outside to inside the stadium to the beautiful, gorgeous set that they made was glorious. Like Bobby Roode, glorious. It was one of the most beautiful setups I've ever seen. I just really wanted to make sure I give that acknowledgement. Before we get into the matches, Rob, did you enjoy the set as well?
The set was really cool. I would say that WrestleMania is known for its elaborate sets. It was just all, like LEDs and lights and screens, and it's cool. Like when Roman Reigns came out, I was just like, somebody's gonna go blind with all these lights. So it was very, very Hollywood style. So I enjoyed it. I did.
Definitely. All right, so basically we go ahead and kick off things with the first match. Brock Lesnar versus Omos. You knew this was going to go really short. Now, I didn't know how good the match was going to be, but I was like, it's probably going to be fun. It's going to be a spectacle, that's for sure. And so basically in the opening match, Omos is throwing Lesnar around. Lesnar is one of the best sellers, man, in WWE. This guy, he's a big dude, and he will sell for you and make you look like $1 million. And that's exactly what he did with Omos. And then, of course, Brock eventually gets him with the German suplexes. Even in his, mid-40s now, Lesnar's strength still just impresses me all the time. Freakishly strong dude. I was around when he was doing this to the Big Show, so I appreciate the commentators acting, wow, over it, but I was like, I've seen him even bigger throw him around, but it was cool. And, of course, Brock Lesnar eventually hits the F5 and gets the 1, 2, 3 on out of there, got his big WrestleMania payday, and probably back off to Canada. It was a short spectacle. Like I said, I thought it was really good for what it was for the first part of the show. Didn't overstay its welcome. Fun little match. So yeah, I got about what I thought it would be. How about you, Rob?
I did not know what I was getting into with this match, to be honest. I was just like, okay, Lesnar looks like a child, looks like a play toy compared to Omos. And then the match started, throwing him around just like a rag. I'm like, oh, they're gonna do something with this guy. And then the match actually happened. And then I'm like, oh, so he is kind of like a cross of Great Khali mixed with like Nathan Jones.
Oh, that's right. This is one of the first Omos matches you've seen.
Oh, if you want to call it a match, yeah. It was more so, hey, Lesnar, roar, and then all of a sudden, oh, my time's over. All right, roar, just getting thrown around himself. But I thought the match was, to start off WrestleMania, it was a very interesting, fun spectacle. And of course, it's WrestleMania, so it's a spectacle in itself. So it was a good match to start the night.
Yeah, definitely. And I enjoyed Omos doing the body slams and everything. But moving on to what, and we might have a different opinion, what I actually feel was one of the weakest matches in this entire WrestleMania card was the women's Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Showcase match. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Natalya and Shotzi versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. I enjoy all these women's matches in the ring for the most part, but man, after how well the men tore the house down last night, I was hoping that these ladies were going to go out there and be like, oh, we're not going to be outdone, but man, the audience really wasn't ever getting into this match. And to be fair to these ladies, I'll be honest, and I know you haven't kept up with the product on a consistent basis, Rob, but they really don't give much for these women's tag teams to do. I mean, just look, the women's tag team titles were not even on the line last last night, so it's not high priority. And then of course Ronda Rousey was injured in this match, so they had to really put her down pretty low now for a card. I mean, Ronda Rousey, you look at it, she debuted teaming with Kurt Angle and taking on what was it, Triple H and Stephanie. Then it was the first ever women's main event at WrestleMania, and then when she came back last year, she was against Charlotte, and now she's kind of in like this low card match that was basically put there. And once again, no was it a number one contenders stipulation on the line? To me, I thought, I don't know what it says about that. I thought Sonya Deville had a cool outfit. That was awesome. And speaking of entrances, I don't know how you don't have Shotzi come out on a tank. This is WrestleMania. She has a tank for an entrance, and you don't do the tank. I'm like, wow, this is perfect.
Not earned a WrestleMania.
And then Raquel Rodriguez, she was the standout to me. Anytime they throw Raquel Rodriguez in these matches where it just feels like they're just trying to push everybody together, she's always one of the standouts. I enjoyed her powerbomb and Liv Morgan onto the other ladies. There was a cool spot where we got to see Natalya break out the double sharpshooter on Sonya and Chelsea. That was cool. But in the end, Ronda Rousey gets the tag, and at least from what I can remember watching this match, I think she only did one move. She comes in, literally walks over to do the armbar, tap out, 1, 2, 3. She wins her match, and there. It reminded me of Brock Lesnar when he ran after everybody laid each other out in the Money in the Bank a few years ago. Brock Lesnar just runs right down, climbs the ladder, grabs the briefcase, and that's it. When you go, Ronda, you got a WrestleMania payday with injury, which I understand. This is their way of basically working around Ronda's injury. But yeah, man, no disrespect towards these ladies, talented performers, but yeah, I just had to say, compared to every single thing from night 1 and night 2, this was probably going to be low on the card for me in terms of my enjoys. Now, that being said, let's go to you, Rob, because I bet you're probably going to be outspoken just because of a certain participant that's in this match.
Yeah.
Especially I want to hear too, because you mentioned Shotzi. You said she has not earned the WrestleMania elaborate entrance.
We'll start with that. Like I thought when I was introduced to Shotzi, like I thought she was very spunky, very cool. Just like this the gimmick, the whole tank girl type gimmick. I was like, all right, cool, that's cool. Saw her come out to the tank, her little tiny, her little like motorized little tank, like it looks like a little kid's like little Fisher Price thing. I was like, all right, that's a cool gimmick. But man, like, and I was joking in my Discord today. I was about, oh yeah, Shotzi like botches a lot. Apparently, her nickname is Botsy. So she's a very big botcher, and that was very prevalent in this match. And I was just like, compared to the rest of the superstars that were in this match, she looked very, very green as her hair. And I know she's not. She's gotten to the E. She's done some stuff, but it's just like she just looked out of place. I just felt that there wasn't any real big cohesion in the match. Like everything didn't flow. Like, and that's gonna be something that I'm gonna be saying throughout this this recap. Like, I just felt tonight there wasn't as much of a cohesion of flowing with the workers in a lot of the matches tonight, like there was last night. And just to finish this off, Ronda Rousey, like, talk about one of the most overrated wrestlers in the WWE right now, and I've called a lot of people overrated, but I'm sorry, like, I just don't think Ronda Rousey has earned the dues and paid her dues to earn the accolades of being a women's champion, to being like a tag team champion, to even being just pushed up. Like, if they brought her in like they brought in The Miz, that she has to start from the ground bottom up and just grind her way, perfect. But, you know, because I am a wrestler and I know a lot of wrestlers, and it took a long time just for an opportunity just to get a tryout with the WWE, for her to get fast pass, especially with her, with her background in MMA. And she's known as a sore loser, and she's shown it in the WWE as well. I lose, I'm taking my ball, I'm going home, I'm going to do my own thing and then come back whenever I want. You haven't earned that right. Undertaker has earned the right. Stone Cold has earned that right. Brock Lesnar has earned that right. The Rock has earned that right. Ronda Rousey has not earned that right.
Well, you know what? I am a Ronda Rousey fan, but even I had to admit that this latest run of her, man, I'm not sure what's happened. It's unfortunate and stuff. But hey, the star power is what got her there. But I can definitely understand where you're coming from, because you being a pro wrestler and you working your butt off to even get to these opportunities, I can definitely see where you're coming from in terms of that. But moving on to our next part, we had Bobby Lashley came out to pose with the crowd with the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, the trophy that he has.
Giant Memorial Battle Royal statue.
Yeah, I'm mumbling all over it because we know I wish WWE picked a better way.
That's why
a better way to honor Andre the Giant, because they certainly haven't pushed this Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner a lot. But when I saw him come out in his regular clothes, I'm like, oh, nobody's going to issue that open challenge. They're not going to have him have a match on this show. And I'm like, dang, that's unfortunate, because Bobby Lashley is one of those guys that in the last 3 years working through this pandemic has been on fire. But hey, at least the Almighty is still looking very almighty. And I'm pretty sure at least, hey, he gets a WrestleMania payday for showing up.
Exactly. That's all he's going to do is get a payday. If they use the Andre the Giant Battle Royal championship and treated it like the IWGP Grand Triple Crown Championship, that it actually is kind of like a main like a Money in the Bank type of thing, or as a real prestige, great. Nothing since it's been brought out, and it's still gonna have nothing. It's just a way. It was just a filler segment. Like, hey, I need to go pee. Oh, by the way, Bobby Lashley won something. You guys celebrate. So
it's too bad. I was waiting to see who he's going to face, but then I'm like, oh, man. But hey, hopefully Bray Wyatt gets soon. He's dealing with some sort of physical issue that can't allow him to wrestle right now. So get well soon. Now let's talk about one of the best matches of this weekend. Our next match, Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. Chris Jericho has stated in an interview that he once heard from Vince McMahon himself, nobody gives an F or whatever about the Intercontinental title. Well, you know what Triple H has done with his booking? He has proven that if you put some story, I always say this, in pro wrestling, a little bit of story goes a long way. And Triple H has made this Intercontinental Championship mean something again. And the way they have gotten it on Gunther, just tremendous. I love the entrances. You knew all three of these were hard hitting. It's funny. I think, Rob, you were talking about earlier when it came to like the type of heavyweights to just get in the ring and go grr, grr. You know, when it comes to these three heavyweights, they show how much the heavyweights have evolved. No disrespect towards that style. I know it was very popular back in probably like the early 80s or beforehand, but here, man, you got heavyweights. They can move, man. And I'm glad wrestling has evolved to that. Titus O'Neil was on commentary. He added a lot. He kept saying, call 911. If they chop me like that, that's 911. Titus was hilarious. I enjoyed his commentary. I'm surprised they never tried him out as a commentary. I'm like, he can bring some nice entertainment value.
He's trying to take over Booker T. You can tell that, right? Duck it, crack.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, yes, come on,
you know
Titus.
What? I think I wouldn't mind Booker T and Titus O'Neil on commentary. Just for the spectacle of that.
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh!
I know you did not just say that.
But hey, sticking to the match here, there was a great moment where Drew McIntyre, man, you could tell how much trust he really. Oh, you know what? Yeah, those chops, man. These guys look like they were sunburned. Wow, you could hear it, man. They had the ring mic'd up really well. But yeah, there was a part where I think he did like the senton bomb flip over the top rope, and Sheamus caught him, and it looked good. You could tell how much trust Drew has in his pal Sheamus for that. There were some.
That was a ricochet. That was a ricochet move, by the way. It was the launch. He looked straight up, then tucked, and I was like, a big man to do it like that, because you know the Undertaker, he'll just fly over.
Yeah,
but no, he went up in the air like ricochet, and last second tucked right on him. I'm like, Drew, bro. Yes.
Nice. Yeah, Drew McIntyre, man. Dude can go. There was a near fall, though, where Sheamus got the bro kick on Drew, and I thought this was going to be the fall, because going into this match, I'm thinking, okay, they want Sheamus to have his big moment. Gunther is going to be the one. This is how they're going to protect Gunther, and Drew's going to take the fall. So this part had me, and Drew kicked out. I was like, oh, okay. So that had me. There were some other great near falls where Sheamus basically he gets hit by the Claymore. Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, they were going at it for a good while, and then finally Sheamus gets free. And this is where basically I knew that Gunther was going to have too much time to recover, because he came in and broke up that pinfall, I think, when Sheamus was pinning Drew.
It was a flying splash. When did you see Gunther do a flying splash?
Gotta pull out all the big stops from WrestleMania. And then from there, Gunther, oh man, this finish was insane. I'm glad Drew's okay. Gunther, he picks up Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre's like on all fours trying to get up. Gunther power bombs Sheamus onto what looks like the back of Drew's neck. I'm like, oh, and then he picks up Drew McIntyre, power bombs him 1, 2, 3, and Samantha Irvin, who does another fantastic job with the ring announcer, declares Gunther the winner and still the WWE Intercontinental Champion. Now, I didn't think Gunther was going to win, but you know what? I'm pleasantly surprised. At this point, it looks like maybe they are. Maybe Triple H is thinking about having Gunther become the one to break the Honky Tonk Man's record. We shall see, but this was fantastic. And like I said, it's a great evolution of showing just how far heavyweights have come in professional wrestling, and how they are so athletic. And my hat goes off to all three of these guys. Tremendous crowd was into it. Man, this is definitely going to be high up here when I get to my ranking video. Rob, what is your thoughts about this triple threat?
I play a lot of competitive Overwatch too. And when I am in the mood and I am in the zone and I know I did what I did and I do what I do, I call out play the game. This is the play of the game, the match of the match of the weekend.
Big praise.
Hands down, the match of WrestleMania both days. Like,
Dude, it's not my match of the weekend, but I get no argument. I easily can see why anyone would see this as their match of the night or match of the weekend. Oh my
God. Like literally, I had to stop it and rewind back to the entrances, because I was like, nah, I didn't see them hit each other that hard. Like, this I can rewind, and literally it just got better and better and better. And I was very surprised that they had the what was the chant? Like holy is either the holy S chant or this is awesome chant. Like literally like 3/4 into the match. I was like, really? You didn't do that like in the first 5 minutes of the bell? Like, you guys are crazy. If this was New York, if this was the Northeast, you understand how people would have been on their feet after the first chop. Like, this literally was reminiscent of ROH. Oh my God, Samoa Joe versus Kenta Kobashi. And if you guys watch that wrestling match in ROH, old school ROH, the amount of chops Kobashi and Joe just lay on each other. But this was just a whole nother level. Like, wow. And I will, before we end the podcast, I will do some future prediction booking. And it does have Gunther written all over it.
Nice, man. We can definitely make that the last part of this podcast. I got a big prediction given how our main event ended of potentially what you can do with Gunther. We might be thinking the same thing, so we'll see it towards the end. All right, we might be a little split on this, but let's get to our next match. I'm about to go crazy here. Yes, sir. For the ladies and gentlemen, our next match, the WWE Raw Women's Championship match. Bianca Belair versus Asuka. Now, let me get this right out the way. The build up to this match was Oh, phew, man, and I hate it, man. I know Triple H used to do a much better job of building up Asuka's matches in NXT when he would have her basically just doing the interviews in Japanese with the English subtitles. So this was definitely not the best, just having Asuka do these grins and stuff like that. Yeah, but as shown 2 years ago, Sasha and Bianca weren't given much creatively to work with, but those women absolutely stole the show. You had Becky and Bianca last year did the same thing, and now this year, what's she gonna do it? And I say they did. Well, first, let's talk about the entrances. You had a lot of ladies came out dressed up like Asuka. That was cool. Now I believe they were called the Divas of Compton. These basically little girls came out dancing and doing a lot of great athletic stuff to Bianca's theme song. That was really cool. I enjoyed the entrances, and when the match started, Bianca came swinging out for the gates. Just, man, she was aggressive right from the start, just as you would want her to be when you're going up against someone as dangerous as Asuka. And honestly, man, both women really were just going at it right from the get-go, both of them. I think they were like, yeah, we are going to outdo Rhea and Charlotte. So it felt like that when I was watching this match. The counters in this match was ridiculous. At one point, outside the ring, Bianca runs towards Asuka, and Asuka basically goes ahead and gives her like a backdrop, but because she's near the corner of the ring, Bianca is able to basically do her athleticism handstand and goes back, and she goes onto her feet, turns it into a suplex, only for Asuka to nearly turn it into an armbar, only for Bianca to counter the armbar and then put her down with a sitting power bomb to the outside. Bianca Belair's power and athleticism was off the charts in the match, as always, showing great strength, even suplexing Asuka at one point outside the ring apron to the ring. But man, let me tell you, I love the finish. There were so many great counters in this, but I love the finish. Asuka basically shoots the misc at Bianca, and Bianca ducks and then goes for the KOD, and you're like, oh, it's over. But nope, Asuka turns it into another armbar, only for Bianca to basically squat Asuka up, power, just lift her all the way up from the ground, hits the KOD, 1, 2, 3, Bianca wins and retains the Raw Women's Championship. She, at this point, I'm convinced, has become Miss WrestleMania. She is now undefeated at WrestleMania 3-0, so that's great. And she's in every championship match she's ever been in for WrestleMania. Championship matches, she just always wins. She leaves as champion at WrestleMania. I love this streak they got going on with Bianca. Ironically, I think when it comes to undefeated matches, Bianca is now tied with, I believe, Sable, who won WrestleManias 14, 15, and 20. So they're the only three women to win 3 WrestleMania matches undefeated, but now her next goal is to catch up to Charlotte and get the most wins in WrestleMania history. So I don't know if they're gonna try and be like, hey, we might got a female Undertaker undefeated streak on here, but I'm loving it, man. I got nothing but praise. Bianca Belair has been crazy. 1 year as champion. I'm glad that she's been pushed so strong. And it's unfortunate. It does suck. Asuka loses. She talking about Undertaker. She's the opposite Undertaker. Asuka surprisingly has never won a match at WrestleMania, but I'm looking forward to see what the future holds. I do think sooner or later Bianca Belair might, just to freshen her character up, might get a heel turn, and I loved heel Bianca in NXT, so we'll see where it goes. But right now she's still over as a babyface. I'm loving it, man. Bianca Belair really is the freaking real deal. The EST, man. And hey, really cool thing. It's awesome because Rhea, Asuka, and Bianca were all in the main Women World Championship matches 2 years ago, and we're still there. So it's great to see everybody just doing great. So yeah, man, I got nothing but praise for this. Now, I think Rob didn't feel nearly as excited about this match as I did. So take it away, Rob, for an alternative opinion.
Well, here's my opinion. So you stated that in the beginning, the buildup was lackluster, to say the least. I felt it. I literally felt it within the energy of the crowd. I felt it within the style of their matches. I've seen Bianca Belair wrestle. I've seen Asuka wrestle. I felt that their chemistry was off tonight. Because I know that the way that they are as amazingly talented workers, they could have put on something that was way better. I'm not saying that the match was bad. I'm just saying that I felt like it was kind of like a SummerSlam or an no, not saying that pay-per-view. Dang. So a SummerSlam or like a Backlash type of pay-per-view. Like, no, I wouldn't even bring it down to Backlash or WrestleMania. No, not WrestleMania, like a Survivor Series. So like one of the four, but it wasn't a WrestleMania match. Like it was a good match. The crowd they're on their hands for a lot of the match, and I literally will say this. What they should have done is they should have put something in buffer of that match, because everybody was so high from that amazing IC match. A comedy match, like this is beautiful for like Santino Marella type of character. Give us something to buffer to relax.
Right quick, I will say I definitely agree with you on that part in terms of they should have put a buffer, because as soon as I saw they were next, I'm like, oh my gosh, these ladies have got a tough act to follow. Exactly. I thought they follow it, but please continue.
No, but they put on a good match, but the thing is that the crowd was so up. It's like, we're relaxing. So the next match, no matter how much they want to cheer for it or how much they want to get invested, they're exhausted. And like, what was it, WrestleMania 19 or whatever, where I think or 17, one of those two, that everybody's like, that was the best WrestleMania of all time. It was like they knew how to, like, wrestling, WWE in the early 2000s knew how to put on segments. They're like, okay, we start off with a really hot match.
Oh, you're basically saying how to structure the card, putting the right matches after one another. Yeah, I got you.
Because you're gonna like, even like I said, Santino Marella and the comedy stuff. Like he was there for a reason. Like our truth, he was there for a reason to give you that buffer so you can relax, enjoy, go pee. Like you go straight from Gunther, Drew, and Sheamus to we're all spent. We are all like, okay, what? We got to pay attention to another intense, like high intense match. I want to chill right now, man. Like I was, like the adrenaline's out of me now, and I felt it. And then like right at the end, I felt like, people are starting to pick up, and I was like, I'm starting to get a little bit interested, but like still, it was like, it was just off. The crowd and the placement, it was just off, and it's not a testament to any of the skills of the talent that were in the ring. It was just bad booking placement, bad placement on the card. That's what and it just made it feel, it was just downhill from there. In my eyes, it just made it feel like a SummerSlam match, not a WrestleMania match, which it should have been. That feel, it just didn't feel that to me.
Gotcha. Before we move on, I would say, would you say, though, that Bianca Belair over these last 3 years now has really built up a really strong WrestleMania resume so far between her matches with Sasha, awesome. Becky, and Asuka?
She's awesome. She's a beast. Like, she surprised me with a lot of the stuff she does. And on top of that, to have her hair that natural and that real and wear it that long, props. Like, and she's strong as hell. I would have loved to see Diane Patarazzo. I wish she was still in NXT so she could come up, because I would have loved to see Bianca Belair against her, against Raquel Rodriguez, Beth Phoenix. I want to see her against the other powerhouse women, you know? Like that, that would be great.
I'll say this, though. We are definitely in for it when they finally do eventually give us the long-awaited Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair match, because they are building up these women as the next generation of women to carry, and I'm all for it. So I'm glad to see both of them once again champions as they were 2 years ago, WrestleMania 21. Now, we're talking about buffer matches, and dude, I respect your opinion, so I'm glad we're able to get the people out there do two different opinions on the match. But you talk about having a buffer between the two. I personally think what came after the Bianca and Asuka match should have been in between that match, and it would have been a nice cool down moment.
Totally agree. Totally
yeah,
agree.
let's talk about this. So Snoop Dogg comes out to Nothing But a G thing. That was cool with the Miz. I'm glad we got some continuity here because I'm like, Miz is so buddy with Snoop Dogg. He's not gonna like the Miz character usually holds a grudge, and him and Snoop Dogg got into it. So they they get into it, and Snoop Dogg's like, my bad, and Miz is like, no, not my bad, and he's like, nah, man, that my bad wasn't for you, and he points to the entry. He's like, that's my bad, and here comes the money. Here we go. Shane McMahon. I was shocked. I'm like, oh, snap. I didn't expect Shane McMahon to come back out, and he got a huge pop, and you could hear he was emotional. I know you mentioned, Rob, just that he sounded blown up too, so he was probally blown up.
My God.
Dude, that's a long rant. That's a long rant.
Hey, let's go. WrestleMania.
That's a long ramp. But see, this is something I thought they were gonna do if you're gonna have him squash somebody. I thought you would have had Bobby come out and squash him, and have Snoop Dogg and endorse Bobby Lashley or something, just to at least get him in a match on the card. So
help a brother.
So yeah, now here's the thing. So what happens is Shane McMahon, he starts doing his punches to Miz, and I guess we get our WrestleMania 35 rematch here. And then from here, Shane McMahon does a leapfrog, and he's down.
Leapfrog.
Was it? Yeah. He does it.
Leapfrog.
Yeah, he does it, and then from there he's on the ground, and I'm like, oh, okay, they must be shooting some angle, and then next thing you know, the camera's focusing on Miz, and I'm like, oh, we're in a shoot here. Because I'm like, they would only do that. They take the tension away on something that's not meant to be seen. And when they do cut back, you do see the audience, the doctors in the back attending to him. So I did go on Twitter to watch it in slow motion, and what it looks like, and I think you pointed this out to our friends in our private chat, Rob, it looked like that when he landed, he must have planted his ankle wrong, because it looked like he pulled Sid Vicious, Conor McGregor, Anderson Silva, that painful injury where it snaps the shin bone. Man, because it looked the way his leg was hanging afterwards. I was like,
you saw the hang, right? You saw the hang,
yeah, too. It didn't look as gruesome the way WWE shot it, but man, because they didn't do a close up of it, but he had to play it in slow motion. It was like, oh man, I'm wishing a speedy recovery for Shane McMahon. It really sucks, especially if this is going to be like his swan song. Like, man, he was really emotionally into it, so I hate to see it go out there, and it just goes to show you these men and women, and Rob knows it more than I would, having been in the ring. They sacrifice a lot for our entertainment, and that's why we respect them so much when they get in the ring. So you think about Shane McMahon, he's done some of the most dangerous stunts in professional wrestling, jumping from so many heights, and yet this leapfrog is what took him out. Like
a leapfrog.
It's crazy. If you told somebody who wasn't familiar and they said Shane McMahon got injured, he said he jumped off another 100-foot. No, it was a leapfrog, and he fell down like 3 feet, and man, planted the leg wrong. It's crazy. So hey man, I see Rob's cracking up. The only
reason why I'm cracking up is because literally this is wrestling basics 101. You get taught this in the first month of wrestling. Leapfrog, jump up, land, and you see it and you're like, oh, he's gonna sell. It's a buckle knee, because I looked online while we're on here, and it says that it blew out his knee. I'm like, that's not what happened. Stop it. He didn't blow out his knee. Your leg don't go like this if you blow out your knee. Your leg's supposed to be like this, not like this. So it was a bad injury. We all hope for a speedy recovery. But dude, as a wrestler, it's hilarious. You broke your leg on a leapfrog. You pulled a Sid Vicious, bro, at WrestleMania. That's kind of funny, bro.
Gotta be painful. Yikes, man.
So you didn't hear him screaming, though. You didn't hear him scream. You just saw the meds, the medic attended to him, and you saw the Miz was just like, yeah. He's like, he's hype, and then you just saw his face go, oh snap! This is not good. But
yeah, I saw him first try to take a step, and he falls a little backwards, and he tries to make another step up, and then that's when he realized, man, but yeah, like I said, hopefully speedy recovery to Shane McMahon. But you know what? Let's go ahead and give props to the DOWG Snoop Dogg, because man, You put a lot of professionals in this situation, they might not even know what to do. Snoop Dogg, to not have been in the professional wrestling industry, he worked just like that, quickly coming up with something on the spot, improv, knocking Miz down twice. He does the people's elbow.
That was not the people's elbow.
Yeah. Let me. You know what? Actually, the way I actually looking at it, the way I got it in my notes, Snoop Dogg attempts the people's elbow. There we go. So he does it the way he ran into the ropes. It was definitely, I will say, the lightest I've ever seen anybody run into the ropes. Because I was afraid. I was like, Snoop, because I never been in a ring, but I remember watching enough of those Tough Enough episodes to where they say when you go to the ropes, make sure you got your arm on the top of the rope so you don't go through them. I'm like, Snoop, I hope you got it. They taught you how to run the rope. So he went in there softly, but I'll say this, man, when he hit the elbow looked nice. And if you see Snoop,
he got some hype.
Yeah, if you look at Snoop Dogg, and I'm gonna say this, I like AEW, but Snoop Dogg's elbow here was greater than his splash, where he almost looked like he face planted himself to the top rope, to the point his cousin was like, I love you, cuz, but we need to work on that on the splash. It looked like before they did this, it looked like somebody's like, okay, they actually spent some time to tell Snoop Dogg how to execute the elbow so he doesn't hurt himself. And I'm like, it was nice. I enjoyed it. And he gets, somehow they changed the rules on us. He ends up winning the match 1, 2, 3. And there you go. You know what though? Snoop Dogg, this was props. Snoop Dogg's an actor, so he obviously would have experience with how to work on the fly. But I was very impressed, and I went online, and so many people were shouting out Snoop Dogg. Like, the way Snoop Dogg's professionalism was in this segment, it cannot be denied, man. He thought on the spot really quickly, worked what was just a hazardous situation, and kept the crowd's attention focused on the segment. Kudos, Snoop Dogg, whatever they paid you, you earned it, man. You earned it, and that, I think that's testament, because Snoop Dogg's a legit longtime WWE fan. So I got nothing but praise for Snoop Dogg. Like I said, speedy recovery to Shane. Miz being a trooper, man, because they used him as a punching bag pretty much this whole WrestleMania, and Snoop Dogg for being able to think quickly on his feet. Before we move on to the next match, anything you want to say left about this segment in terms of the Snoop Dogg portion?
Yeah, I gotta say, it's company man to the max. Give this man a world title run that is deserved.
Third time, yeah.
Seriously, man, the guy gets humiliated over and over and over again, and still just eats it up like a bowl of cereal. Like, give this guy another run. Snoop Dogg, legit, talking about just calling an audible in the ring. You understand? You have to be in the ring for years to even have the wherewithal to call an audible and say, yo, we're doing this, and have the confidence saying and telling your opponent, yo, we're doing this. It's an audible. Somebody's hurt. We're doing this. We're going home now. And if you guys don't know what the term going home is basically we're finishing the match right now. That's what's going home. Mm-hmm. So for Snoop to literally just, I don't know, and there was no communication. You could see there was no communication.
Right in there. He just hopped right in there.
He's just, yo, you hurt my mans. You hurt my mans. And it's like that was that buffer, that professionalism. Like, yo, he's understands wrestling. All right, like, you're setting it up. Yo, you hurt my man. How you gonna hurt my man like that? And Miz is starting to back up. He's like, okay, let me see what's going on. You hurt my man's like that? Yo, bro, you wanna? And then like, this is what you get for hurting my man. And then he punched, and it was a very well placed punch right to the collarbone. It wasn't to the jaw, it was to the collarbone, but the Miz sold it like $1 million. And the second punch, right to the collarbone again, but looked like $1 million. And for the Miz to just say, yo, I'm gonna just take the people, whatever, let's just do this. He was probably thinking in his mind, yo, I hope nobody screams at me after when I get back. But yo, this looks like it's working, so let's go. 1, 2, 3. Everybody's happy. Cool. Let's get the hell out of here. And just the chaos that could have happened. But yet again, because of Snoop Dogg, because of The Miz, people that actually do truly care about the business, not someone like, unfortunately, I will say it, Ronda Rousey, that's just there for a paycheck, is just going through the motions. And even, I could say, Brock Lesnar, when he first came back, he was just going through the motions, and then slowly you started seeing him care. And now look at Brock Lesnar. Now everybody loves him. He's the best. So because these two gentlemen cared, they turned a bad situation into something that was still a good feeling go home segment. Well, not go home segment, but a good feeling segment. Shane got taken care of, and everybody celebrated. Snoop Dogg, LA native, celebrating with the crowd. The crowd got happy. They saw the Miz get foiled, and it all went well instead of having something that could have ended really crappy. And this is not the first time that somebody got injured or quote unquote injured in the show either. But we're going.
Yeah, very well said, man. Good stuff, and we're gonna move on to the next match. So I will say this: I do, to be fair, I think Ronda does love it, but just something's not clicking. I don't know if the motivation isn't as strong there or something. Just something's not clicking, man.
If you're getting paid a lot of money, why even try? Look at Shinsuke Nakamura, bro. When he first came into the WWE, he was strong style all the way. After a while, dude's going surfing. He's just chilling, hanging out.
You told me that. You told me. Yeah. He loves surfing. I was wondering. I remember. I think I told you. I was wondering, like, why did they not put him in the main event? He's like, he loves surfing.
He loves surfing. He literally said, "Hey, I'm in America. I have fun." So, like, he doesn't have to go hard like New Japan. Why? Why?
Easier on the body, for sure. Easier on the body.
Exactly.
Yeah. But hey, let's get to the next match. Hell in a Cell. Edge versus, or Brood Edge versus the Demon Finn Balor. First of all, how we have missed you. Welcome back, Mr. Silver Hell in a Cell. That was great to see. Just whoever thought we get a big pop just for a color returning to the cell. But yeah, so Edge comes out to South, I believe it's South of the Heaven by Slayer, as Brood Edge, and then he has the regular theme song that he has with Alter Bridge, and then we get Demon Finn Balor coming out to CFO's first theme before the remix with Def Rebel. But yeah, they had a lot of purple in Finn Balor's paint and a lot of cool effects to make up for the fact that it was still daytime because the roof over there is transparent on the stadium. So yeah, that was good, man. It's good to see a Hell in a Cell match because two guys hate each other and want to settle the score. I was not a fan, like many people, of just putting two people inside Hell in a Cell because it just so happens to be we have a show called Hell in a Cell. Do it when it's warranted, and that's what I grew up on. So I'll talk about something that I thought was kind of funny. You know that especially at school, there's always to hand this candy out. They're called Fruities. It kind of reminded me of, like, they got a red steel chair and a purple Kindle stick, and that was like the first thing they did in the match. I'm like the fruity colors and stuff. I'm like, okay, I guess it works. I don't know why they have this specific colors under there, but there were some cool spots.
They were pixie sticks. That's what I was like, these guys gonna eat sugar? Like, those are pixie? I was like, oh, those are Kendall sticks? Like, what the hell? Yeah.
So we got a cool spot where Edge pins Finn Balor with the in like the corner and traps him with the Kindle sticks and does a flying drop kick off the apron. That was cool. There was even a point where Finn Balor basically does his drop kick and sends Edge through the table. And Edge, he takes out a ladder, and this is where, right here, he takes the ladder and he just chucks it, tosses it right at Finn Balor's head. And when they played in slow motion, you see Finn Balor's head whiplash back. Yep. And then I look and he started pouring blood, and I was like, oh, I immediately text our group chat. I was like, hey, they going old school Hell in a Cell, the type of cell I grew up with as a kid and as a teenager. And then it's learned that, it was definitely the hard way, because they had the doctors come in and they kept the cameras on Edge, and the fans were booing, and Finn kept trying to get in there, and the doctors kept saying, no, we got to clean you up. And this is where you wonder, have we matured and grown? Because if you're from our generation, Rob, we probably like it. Yeah, we saw Mick Foley get thrown off the cell, through the cell on thumbtacks, and
you don't remember Stone Cold Steve Austin like passing out with blood.
Yeah. So many. I'm like. Yeah, we were like, oh yeah, I'm like, this is nothing for Finn Balor, and fans are booing. But then they had Corey Graves on commentary, and he was mentioning how, we got world-class doctors that are going to protect these wrestlers from themselves. But the truth is, as I mentioned,
face paint on, you can't even see it.
In terms of growing up now, is that 25 years ago we didn't have the medical knowledge that we do now, and you want to definitely make sure, because that thing chucked them right in the head. You want to make sure, especially what we know about CTE now. You want to make sure that the wrestler's protected. He doesn't have concussion. Finn wants to go. So I get it. But a lot of people who grew up in my time were like, yeah, but I understand it. They had to do what they had to do to protect the wrestlers, because it's different times now. Like I said, the medical knowledge is much more out there now than what it was 25 years ago. But thankfully they cleaned them up and we were able to get right back into the match. So yeah, at one point, what do we get from here? Edge is doing an execution off the ladder where Finn Balor is on the top rope, and they go off of there, and that was a cool spot. I mean, these guys they were going at it like they really hated each other, and that's what I want to see. There was a really cool part too where Finn Balor, after he gets Edge on the table, he goes for the coup de grace. He says, screw it. He jumps onto the side of the Hell in a Cell and starts climbing up and does a coup de grace from a little platform they had standing, which I never noticed from there. So that was cool. Keep innovative. From the side of the cell, goes right through the table. I got to be honest, after what I saw with Shane McMahon, I kept cringing every time I saw him going from these high distance, landing on his legs, man. I was like, oh, please don't. But
I was like, yo, those are your ankles, man. You're wearing wrestling shoes. You're not even wearing boots. You're wearing wrestling shoes. No ankle support. I was like, ooh, ooh, oh, he's good. Okay, thank you. It was that was crazy. But hey, eventually
Edge gets Finn Balor down for good and uses the concerto for the 1, 2, 3. So this is how I saw it. I thought Finn Balor, especially if this was the blow off, should have won, as I assume that was the purpose of the Judgment Day, for Edge to elevate these guys, and then they finally beat Edge, the longtime veteran, and you let Finn Balor get renewed and he can go on getting back to hopefully a main event scene. But I will say this, at least Triple H booked Finn Balor as the Demon to lose with dignity, because my gosh, 2 years ago, Vince McMahon, when they had the smoke and Finn basically gets the ropes literally cut from underneath him and he face plops and Roman beats him. I'm like, I could have just had Roman spear in 1, 2, 3, let him in rightfully. One of the things about Finn Balor, I love the demon face paint and everything, but to me, I never felt he does enough to change his persona, like become more aggressive. It still feels like it's Finn Balor wrestling with face paint on. So that's one thing that's unfortunate. There's even one part where he's a heel and he like plays to the crowd and goes like, yeah. And I'm like, he's the heel. He shouldn't care about playing to the crowd. But, it was a good match. Hell in a Cell. Like I said, this brought Hell in a Cell back to what it was need. It was a brutal match, man. Both guys were in there like they were trying to kill each other, living up to what it's supposed to be. Hell taking place inside that cell. Rob, what was your thoughts on the match?
I thought the match was good. That was good. It was definitely better than I thought it would be. Mm-hmm. For the simple reason that Edge is old. Edge is old. Like literally, we were talking about the Discord, like Kurt Hawkins and Deck. I think it was Zack Ryder, where they were the Edge heads. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's how old Edge is. I'm like, and the guy's, he's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. And to see him still being able to go, I was like, thoroughly impressed. Yeah. Thoroughly impressed, yes. But I will say, Edge, if you're going to market the Brood Edge is coming back, and you don't come back with Christian nor Gangrel or the Brood music or a bloodbath or I'm sorry, the red viscous liquid, then don't say that you're Brood Edge. And on top of that, you say you're Brood Edge, but you come out looking like you're the Shockmaster upgraded vampire version. Like, I don't understand what that helmet was about. I literally saw it. I'm like, the Shockmaster. And then also I saw the vampire wings. I was like, is he Morgan from Dark Slayers? But like besides that, the match was good. It sucks that a lot of the match was taken away. You kind of got taken out of the match because of the whole blood situation. And people, it's just like, now we have to wait again. And we're just like, oh, snap. We just saw an injury happen. So we're like, oh, no, another injury? Like, what is going on tonight? And like, we all saw like what's it called? Charlotte get injured yesterday. I need to check on that, but most likely it's a broken nose. I'm calling it the Charlotte when you just flip and just fall on your face, or any face plant. It's called doing the Charlotte now, and like it was extremely stressful at that time. But once we found out that hey, he's good, and on top of that, the blood, like either like he wasn't bleeding that much. Which on the pavement you could see. I mean, the canvas you could see the blood. Either that, like they passed him up well, or they basically put a sabu and super glued that wound, because you did not see any blood drip from his forehead after that. So overall, great match, way better than I actually thought it was going to be. So kudos to Edge, Finn Balor. Sorry, they're treating him like a chump. The moment that he got injured and he won the Universal title, he's been a chump ever since. And they need to just go back. They need to go back to the drawing board. I say put Ricochet together. You're not doing Snap with Ricochet anyway. Put them together. Go back to this Prince Devitt gimmick and call them the Royals of Wrestling. And you have Ricochet do his King of Wrestling gimmick again, come out with the crown. Prince Devitt, and they are the Royals of Wrestling, and they would destroy in the tag team. Talk about somebody that would match the Usos. They would be able to match the Usos out, like just story-wise, ring work, everything. But nobody wants to listen to Rob Fury booking, so that's my ideals of the match.
Well, hey man, I think Finn Balor's been doing excellent on the microphone character wise, but yeah, I really wish that he would have been the one to go over. I thought Edge had his big moment winning with him and Beth beating Rhea and Finn Balor in the last PLE, and so I'm like, okay, they got their happy moment there as a couple, but one-on-one, man, yeah. So we'll see where it goes. But hey, at least things are looking up for Rhea Ripley when it comes to the Judgment Day. But yeah, you're
Judgment Day person that one. Only one.
And you're right. When you advertise the Brood, where's the Brood music? One of the most iconic themes that Jim Johnson created in the Attitude Era. I still bang out to that. And then it would have been cool to bring in Gangrel and stuff. I understand they couldn't do Christian because he's with AEW and Tony Khan and Triple H aren't getting along too well like that. But
give me a cup. Give me a cup of blood and then spew it out. At least that, but nothing of that was Brood. Nothing.
Yeah. They were even talking about like Brood Edge, like being his darker persona, but it's like, I when I think of the most evil, sadistic Edge, I think of Rated R Superstar Edge from like the Ruthless Aggression era 06, 08, when he was doing his most dementic stuff. Like that's what I associate. Like Brood Edge was that Edge that was making a name for himself, but he didn't like start showing more personality to him, and Christian broke out their own. It kind of became the goofballs that still could win. So it's like I like we associate the Brood Edge with the beginning of Edge career, but when you want to go to top most sadistic evil Edge, you go to Ruthless Aggression when he was on top with Rated R. But that being said, next segment we had the Hall of Famers come out, which they do every year, so it was great to see that. I like that they're playing the entrance music for those who have entrance music, something really nice as opposed to having all the Hall of Famers come out to that one theme song and then the last person, the headliner, comes out. So that was cool to see for the Hall of Fame. I assume you probably agree with me, Rob. If so, we'll move on to the main event.
Yeah, just definitely amazing. Like everybody, I agree in that, and especially the Great Muta, literally hands down my number one favorite Japanese wrestler of all time. And I'm glad that he got in there. And did Liger get in there also? Jushin Liger?
Yes, he did. Yep, he did.
That's my second favorite Japanese wrestler of all time. And
I think that was 20. He was either 2020 or 2020. He was either I think he was 2021 or something like that, around that period.
That's crazy. They put Liger in before Muta, and Liger did more with WCW. Anyway, congratulations, Hall of Fame of 2023.
For sure. All righty. Now, the match that this whole weekend was built for. The main event of the weekend for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Roman, the Tribal Chief Reigns versus Cody, the American Nightmare Rhodes. Woo! I've said it in so many of my reviews over the last few years. The Bloodline story's been awesome. Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, to build up the promos, they have been excellent. And this match felt like it had big stakes because going in, I knew this one could go either way. But I was mostly going for our tribal chief because of a certain milestone coming up. But we'll get to that later.
0-0.
Roman Reigns. So basically, Cody Rhodes comes out and he has a really sick looking jacket. This is awesome, man. Like
he always does. Like
I love the whole prompt and circumstances that they do with Cody. So that was cool. Just really good to see where he is 1 year later, and just coming off his AEW run as well. From here, I think there was a cool moment after he greets his family at ringside. I think it may have been, I gotta go back, but correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think it was Brody Lee's son he gave his weight belt to, which Solo Sikoa, given how much it played a role, must have snatched from him. But that was really cool. Rest in peace, Brody Lee. I'm glad he's still close with the family, even though he moved on to WWE.
Good eye, by the way. I didn't even realize that he took that belt from the kid. I didn't realize that.
Well, when he strapped him, I remember in the beginning, I'm like, oh dang, Solo.
Like literally, I just like, oh, you're right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why this gentleman puts on the reviews, because he has such a great eagle eye. Like literally, I totally forgot about that. Good catch. And honestly, that is a great tribute to his son. So that
for sure. Yep. I'm glad I'm taking notes this time. Some of these pay-per-views I used to do right off the top of my head, and I'll forget all these details. But my man Roman Reigns came out with some class. Roman Reigns came out, had an orchestra of pianists who were just doing his theme song in the piano style. I like this was cool. Roman coming out with some class, and then Roman comes out. I love the entrance. I think it's the greatest theme song Def Rebels ever made for WWE out of what they've done. The head of the table theme, it just changes the whole mood, the crowd, seeing 80,000 plus people there with their ones in the sky, man, it gets me hyped every time. I've already praised enough just how far Roman Reigns has come in this run, so that was fantastic. And once again, Samantha Irvin does a tremendous job with the ring announcing, especially when it comes to Roman Reigns, and then Roman Reigns even asking WrestleMania to acknowledge him. Good stuff. And the audience atmosphere for this was off the charts, man. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. Cody, he takes it to Roman right in the beginning of the match, and this was good stuff. From there, Roman ends up throwing Cody over the top rope and turns his back thinking he's got Cody, and Cody just comes right out and basically takes advantage of him being basically from Roman's self-distraction and throws him out of the ropes, goes outside for a kick to Roman. Roman's like, he catches Cody's leg and slams him down face first onto the ring apron, and they trade blows back going on to the ramp, where Roman tosses Cody onto his back first on the ramp, and then Cody comes back, does a backdrop to Roman on the ramp. So this is just good stuff. And of course, we got a nice back and forth match going here. But then Solo, when the referee's not looking, does a chair shot to Cody's ribs, which I'm like, all right, here we go.
That's not what happened. Listen, what Solo he saw that Cody was not breathing properly and used the chair, the edge of the chair, to massage his rib cage so he could start breathing. You may continue.
To you, Rob, in the words of the late great Gorilla Monsoon to Bobby Heenan, are you blind? So after that, the chair shot, this is where I'm like, okay, we're gonna get shenanigans here. So not sure how, man, they just threw all the rules out at this WrestleMania, Rob. You've been pointing this out, legal or not. They're on the tables. Roman's trying to powerbomb Cody to the announce table, and then after that, Cody counters with the drop, doing the back drop. So visually, it looked great. Like Roman almost hit the back of the head on the edge of the table. It was some great near falls. The near falls were really good in this match too. When Cody lands the Cody cutter from the middle of the rope,
that was beautiful.
Beautifully executed. And I knew Roman was going to kick out because, of course, when you're a long time hardcore wrestling fan, you get conditioned to know, like, okay, it's going to take more than that to beat Roman. But shout out to Michael Cole, who did a tremendous job selling it on commentary. I love the freedom that Triple H has given him since taking over creatively. And Solo eventually also, he gets he gets caught when he takes the strap to Cody, meaning, he took it away from the poor boy. And this is where the referee basically ejects him from the ringside. Now, I don't really get hyped up over these ejections. I've seen it so many times where the crowd goes crazy, but I was so into this match. I was like, get him out of here. Get him the F out of here, because I want to see a clean one-on-one match. If Roman's going to win, I want to see the Roman defiantly defeat Cody here, or Cody gets the big win. I mean, it's okay when the cheating and you're going to have the babyface win, but continuing on here with more near falls, Cody hits the crossroads and gets another very close near fall on Roman Reigns. Now, once again, if you pay attention to Cody Rhodes matches, even with it's funny, even with some of the lowest wrestlers on the card, he has used like 3 or 4 of these crossroads in order to beat them. So I already am conditioned to see that every Cody Rhodes match is going to end with multiple crossroads. So I'm like, all right, it's not going to be on the first one, that's for sure. And then from there, some more heavy near falls where Roman's delivering the Uranagi, aka rock bottom, and Cody Rhodes even breaking out the pedigree. And then Roman gets the Superman punch in midair on Cody. So it's just some great stuff. And Cody comes back with, when Cody went for the disaster kick, gets the Superman punch. So they were really like just playing with the fans' emotions. Audience was just raucous on this point. And Paul Heyman, who's always fantastic in these matches, man, he was out here shouting, yelling, "This is all yours!" And Tribal Chief, he's ready to get beat. I love Paul Heyman as a manager, man. It's fantastic. And there's a really cool counter where Roman goes for the spear and Cody Rhodes jumps over him and flips him into a pinfall. And then from there puts him into the figure 4 leg lock once after the kick out. And Michael Cole did a great job talking about how it was appropriate given the history of Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair and stuff like that. That was awesome. And I love some old school wrestling when Roman Reigns reversed the figure 4 leg lock, turning it onto his stomach. I love when I see those little subtle details in a pro wrestling match. Roman, he hit a spear. Now, this is the first time I think in the match where I was like, okay, this might be it. He hit the spear on Cody and Cody kicked out. I'm like, okay, we still in this. And Roman, basically from there, what was cool is Cody Rhodes is in the guillotine by Roman, and eventually Roman, he powers his way out. And I wish they go back to the 3 arm drops, because it always made great ones. I'm a big fan of when Stone Cold on the 3rd drop, he would stop and then stick his middle finger up. It's like, and Jim was like, no, the rattlesnake is still in it, my God. I wish they go back to that, but he was out and it looked like it was synced in tight at one point, so that was good. And this was a shocker to me, because usually in these Roman Reigns matches, the guillotine is where Roman Reigns, that's his last resort. That's usually what he does to put down. He put Goldberg down with it, Brock Lesnar down. So the fact that Cody got out of it, I give them praise for keeping me on suspense. And then, of course, the ref bump happens. And when that ref bump happens, we are in Shenanigan City territory. So this is where we get our shenanigans. So the Usos comes out and they gang up on Cody Rhodes. And
whoa. Once again, the Usos were not ganging up on Cody, ladies and gentlemen. What happened was the Usos saw Cody Rhodes in the corner just heaving, huffing. So they were trying to help Cody up. And Cody was in such a manic state because he was in the middle of the match. He was just fighting him off. And the Usos were like, yo, chill, bro. And they were trying to keep him at a distance with their feet. But Cody kept running into his feet like Super Kick City. And they're like, no, we don't want to super kick you. We're just trying to help you, Cody. And then so you got to understand, you have to get the right side of that story. They weren't trying to attack Cody. They were trying to assist Cody. You may continue.
And ladies and gentlemen, if me and Rob ever do any sort of commentary, and this is why I will make the good babyface commentator and he can be the heel commentator.
I love me some Bobby Heenan, baby. Come on.
And so from there, Cody Rhodes, he's getting ganged up on the Usos. And this is where I was getting hyped because KO and Sammy said, nah, F that. He said, we coming out there and said, not this way. And they just go to town on the Usos and get them out of the way. And the referee was out, so ain't no DQ up in here tonight. So this is a part where I actually really love this because after all the last couple of years, Roman's been doing this with his cousins. Now it's Roman who gets ganged up on by KO and Sammy. I'm like, yeah, give him some of his own medicine. It don't feel so good now, does it? So I was really into the match. And he hits the stunner on Roman, the haluva kick from Sammy to Roman. I'm like, and this was really good because they were building up like this is poetic justice. Finally, the bloodline is out. Roman is getting a taste of his own medicine. And from here, Cody ends up crawling over and puts his arm over Roman. And you're thinking like, this is the big moment. But I'm like, nah, the referee is taking too long. And Roman barely gets his shoulder up like that. And the match continues. So I will say this. I'm not a fan of some of these shenanigan cities and Roman's matches, but this was some good shenanigan spot. This was a good shenanigan spot here. And at this point, man, it just becomes a slugfest. Everybody's on the edge of their seat. It's going back and forth. It's come down to Cody and Roman. So this is just really good stuff. Cody Rhodes pays tribute to his father with the bionic elbow. Boom. That was good stuff. But in the end, Roman Reigns, as he does in all of these big matches, when he's nearly defeated by Cody Rhodes, who lands 2 crossroads, because I was like, okay, once we get to the multiple crossroads, the finish is coming to an end. And this is where, coming out in a hoodie, you had Solo Sikoa hits the Samoan spike on Cody Rhodes. Referee comes.
Whoa. Hold on here.
All right, listen, Rob. What's the excuse now? What's the excuse now? Yeah, that was the excuse.
Solo saw Cody in the corner gasping for air. So Solo, what he did was use a Samoan Heimlich maneuver to get whatever was in his
You, sir, are doing a dear injustice to Cody's conditioning.
Like seriously, like literally, Solo went, oh, and then Cody's like, oh, I could breathe. Thank you, Solo. But he was so like he was so overwhelmed and overcome with like the joy of breathing again. He just got completely distracted. And then what you're gonna say happened. So it wasn't an attack. It wasn't a spike. It was more so a life-saving experience.
Oh, I love doing these podcasts with you, Rob. You keep me entertained. I hope you guys are entertained by all this too. But in the end, Roman hits the spear after the Samoan spiker, if you believe old Rob here, basically helping Cody get some of that air back in, as if the boy doesn't got enough conditioned cardio tank on him already. But yeah, that gets the final decisive blow for the 1, 2, 3. And nonetheless, as I ultimately picked Roman to win, WWE could not miss out on that opportunity to get him closer to 1,000 days. It's something that hasn't been done in 40 years or so since Hulk Hogan. So of course they want Roman to get that. So I'll give Triple H this in the booking. He really did his absolute best to make Cody Rhodes look strong. He protected him. I was on the edge of my seat. You could hear the wind get taken out of the entire audience there. If we had the Bart Simpson meme and you were to take your remote and just pause it, you could pinpoint the exact moment when 80,000 plus people and SoFi Stadium's heart break. Roman Reigns is still the champion. I wish it was clean, but I'm glad to see Roman's reign continue, because this is going to be the final thing I think that really cements his legacy, becoming a 1,000-day champion or surpassing Pedro Morales' title reign over 1,200 days, I believe it is, or something like that, and becoming the 5th longest reigning world champion in WWE history. Things are still set up very well, though, to where Cody Rhodes can make a comeback and beat Roman after the 1,000 days he reaches as champion. And I think the storyline is going to get really good here too with the Usos, as I've been mentioning to you, Rob, in terms of like Jey Uso, is that I think this is the direction they've been teasing, is that the Usos are eventually going to see, particularly Jey, that Roman has been really sort of basically trying to has been manipulating him this whole time. So I'm thinking that's where the story's going to go. So there's still a lot of good things I'm thinking, looking forward to it. This match was tremendous. Hats off to Cody, Roman. Yeah. Man, the suspense was off the charts. Main event was definitely just extremely hot, burning, blazing hot fire. I enjoyed it. And before I let you go and give your thoughts on the match, one of the things I think where we could be headed to, I don't know if they'll go this route because it's heel versus heel, but you are in a very unique situation because around September is when Roman, I believe, would hit, Roman is going to hit 3 years as champion, and I think around that time frame, it might be August, it might be September, or a little later in that time frame is when you have Gunther is going to hit the Honky Tonk Man's record. So you could realistically, for the first time since Hogan and Ultimate Warrior, build up Intercontinental Champion versus Gunther versus undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns. If Roman wins, he goes on to become a 3-year champion. If Gunther wins, he not only breaks the Honky Tonk Man's record, but he becomes the first man since the Ultimate Warrior to hold the Intercontinental and World Championships. I don't know if they're going to go there, but I am looking forward to it. Overall, like I said, I thought it was tremendous. Rob, I'll let you take the floor here. What is your overall thoughts about this main event?
Overall thoughts, just great main event. It was just action-packed. I thought the storyline was great, even though, like I've said it many times before, I said it many times again, I really wanted the Bloodline to do just more focus on the Bloodline, but I understand why it had to happen like this. Cody was great. It keeps Cody strong. It keeps Cody in the championship hunt, but yet again, you could easily jump up down to the US title to build that title up to be as equivalent as up to the Intercontinental title. So overall, it was great. The future booking that I was saying is, now that you gave me those dates, it does make sense of what I was saying. Have Roman. Now check this out. You have Roman lose. Finally, we go into the Bloodline situation I was talking about. Roman, Roman's like, hey, you're not champions anymore. I'm the champion. You listen to me. They get fed up. Jey challenges him at Survivor Series, and it's going to be like, who's going to survive the Bloodline, me or you? Jey beats him. Roman leaves for a couple of months. Like, legit just leaves. Like I said, Jimmy challenges Jey for the title because they're brothers. They split. They go into like Royal Rumble as their own champions. They do their thing. Now, Gunther either wins the Royal Rumble or wins King of the Ring. I would say just King of the Ring or Money in the Bank. There you go. King of the Ring or Money in the Bank. You have Roman come back to the Rumble. Roman wins the Rumble, challenges both of them. At the end of that, Roman stands tall. And throughout the whole time with the Money in the Bank, Gunther, you're like, hey, Gunther, when are you going to cash in? I will cash in when I cash in. And that's all he says. From the moment he gets it, I will cash in when I cash in. And then when it's time, he comes in, he cashes in, he beats Roman Reigns, beats him in the biggest stage of them all, WrestleMania, when they cash in. And after he gets on the mic, I cashed in and done, and just hold both belts.
Wow, you want to play the long game to WrestleMania 40 then? Woo.
Yeah, because I think Gunther is the future of the E. Like, looking at him, he is the future. Not only do you give Jey and Jimmy some props to stay on top, they're transitional champions, fine. But yet again, you give them their just due because they earned that. On top of that, the different combinations of matches you can have for the SmackDown and Universal and Raw titles individually with Jey and Jimmy, and then bring it back to the fold with at WrestleMania, thinking, now the Tribal Chief is back. He went off, did movies, now he's back. And then all of a sudden, Gunther's like, I was never gone. I was here the whole time. I will cash in when I cash in. And then he cashes in on him. I think that would be great. Or, like you said, hold it off. Let Gunther either win the Money in the Bank or WrestleMania. I mean, Royal Rumble. And just be like, I cash in on you. And then just go heavyweight champion and IC champion. I was seeing all of that happening while he was still IC champion. He would have had all the belts and Money in the Bank. Like, literally make him the Super Mario of that world. Like, no matter what, he gets all the stars, all the coins, everything is on him because the guys work for it. And that is my take on that match and future predictions for WrestleMania 40.
Nice, man. And you know what? I do think once Roman Reigns loses this championship, I think the eventual just final nail in the coffin to the Bloodline storyline is Jey Uso gets a third match with Roman and beats him clean, and boom, because Jay's acting and his emotions has been off the chart. They all have, Jimmy, Solo, but Jay definitely has what it takes to be a main event star. He's proven it. And overall final thoughts, I take it we both are in agreement from top to bottom, though. This WrestleMania, both nights, Triple H did an incredible job. We agree on that?
Yes, it was definitely a good job. I would say night one overall was better than night two, but that IC belt overall was the best match of the weekend.
Yeah, man, they really gel together, I think, as a complete unit. Even if you like night one better, night two, both were strong shows. And if you like to see how I go ahead and rank these matches, go ahead and click the link on the screen, as well as remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Also, our social media links and my affiliate links will be in the description / pinned comment below. Rob, it has been an absolute pleasure. Until next time, my friend.
It has been a pleasure, guys. Thank you for watching.